Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy, DOITWITHDAN. That's me. That's my name. I go by Mr. DOITWITHDAN around these parts. You call me Dan, and this is my shop. I use it to kind of just work on my own projects and teach myself how to do stuff. And I bought this running and driving 1989 Fox body notchback Mustang for $5,000. It was running and driving, had pretty much no issues, and then as I started uncovering some things, found out that the car was in much worse shape than I thought. Like a lot worse shape. It's hard to believe that this was a running and driving car when I bought it. But that being said, I've decided to literally start building this car basically piece by piece by hand, which means a lot of things, and we have a lot to do on this thing today, and I want you guys to enjoy it. But you know how things go. I mean, this is an expensive and hard undertaking project, and I need support on the channel to help me keep it going, which is why I accept ads from time to time, and you guys are pretty chill about it. So we do have an ad for today's video. Take it away, other version of me. Thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. I know a lot of you guys are a lot like me and you're tired of these weak, cartoony looking games, and not every RPG has to look bad. Raid Shadow Legends is all about dark fantasy and realism. Build your best squads with specific factions and fight the faction war. And the best part, it's free to play on both PC and mobile. Now Raid has 16 different factions. They have dwarves, elves, undead hordes, and many more. And each one has many champions. I personally like the barbarians. They're absolutely freaking nuts. They're like mercenaries. They work for the highest bidder. And you can absolutely test your limits by going to tournaments, compete against the entire Raid community, fighting in the Spider's Den, the Ice Golem's Peak, the Almighty Fire Knight, or the Notorious Dragon in order to win some awesome rewards. The best part is you can find me on the nickname Captain Dingleberry, and if you're quick enough, you can join my clan. So what are you waiting for? Go to my video description and click on the special link, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver and a free champion, which is the Hex Weaver. Still one of my favorite champions. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Good luck, and I'll see you out there. Thank you guys for watching and supporting the ads. It really helps me out on the channel. I appreciate it more than you know. Now it's time to get to work on this thing. Respirator as well. It's creating a lot of weird smells, picking up a lot of dust. And on top of that, I'm also wearing my big mix because the wire wheels are always flinging off with this wire. Oh man, I'm super excited about this. Finally gonna be able to use some of my stuff from LMR. Honestly, they've been like super cool about it because they sent me a bunch of this sponsored stuff before I decided to tear apart my car, like this piece. And like, hey man, we noticed that you got all those parts, you know? And I was like, oh yeah, turns out the car is like basically totaled. But I'm still gonna use all their parts. They've been really cool with it. I appreciate you guys over at LMR. I got a code that's in the description you guys can use, by the way. Anyway, so this little patch panel, it just goes glunk right there, you know? Real simple like. And obviously, you know, if you're repairing this on a regular, not rust out car, you would have supporting pieces that would show you exactly where to put this. But since I don't, I'm gonna have to reference a couple of things. So if I go over here on this side, I can see that the bottom line here, this point here, which is this line right here on my repair piece, meets flush with where the wheel well was pinch welded together. So I will use this as a general reference. It won't be 100% perfect, but when I tack it in place, that'll give me a good idea of where it kind of needs to be. Then I'll just use my frame as a reference point to measure where it needs to go in relations to where the passenger is, so everything looks really uniform on both sides no matter what. Seems simple enough, but I just like to explain these things because you guys seem interested sometimes. What do I know? Look at this dog shit weld. It's actually not bad. I mean, the heat dispersion is okay, whatever. The problem is the welder that I'm using. Obviously, I think body work, most people use MIG. I mean, I like my Lincoln welder. I like this thing a lot, you know, it's done great. But I'm welding body panels at A1, which is the lowest setting that it goes to, and it blows through it so quick. But I mean, that's on there. There's good fusion. The back looks good. And this doesn't matter because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my grinder and I'm gonna grind all this away. You can't make me feel bad about grinding body welds. I don't have the capacity with this MIG machine to weld that thin, like that good yet. Maybe it's a skill that I'll pick up as time goes on, you know? I just kinda had to like bick, 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 bick. To save me some work over here, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fill this little gap here full of weld and then grind it down nice and smooth. I don't know if that's how that's supposed to work, but I think that's gonna be the easiest solution to that little hole. So what I did back here, I kinda just filled this little triangle back here with weld, and then I'm gonna grind that flush. You'll never know. Is it perfect? Not really. No, far from it. I'll probably have to do some body work to it. I did use my hammers. I got a set of body hammers, and I was just kind of dicking around with them. I think I kind of understand how they work, so I'm gonna play with those later, because this thing does need a lot of body work. But yeah, so that's on there. It's all lined up. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll have to do some work to it, I'm sure. My up next on the list of shit to do was to cut out the old side skirts, or kick panels, or whatever you want to call them, recreate them with some sheet metal and weld in some new ones.
All my bones are dislocated, I just keep on wandering along. Got this falling over, and since then I have been everything you want. Everything you come for you, everyone we try to master. Close the gate and buckle up, more gasoline is everything we want. In and out.
also have welded on a new kind of side skirt. This is a little bit thicker than the rest of it because I'll have the body kind of start to mount to here. This is 16 gauge. I think the rest of the body is 18 to 20 gauge, somewhere around there. But this material is definitely thicker than the rest of it. Yeah, actually that went a little bit easier than I thought it would. I'll probably be eliminating this seam. Normally between your quarter panel and your side skirts on these cars, there is a seam. I'm just gonna finish welding in here and completely eliminate the seam. This will be one big body panel. At least it's how it'll look. These welds were a little hard to do because there's a lot of body filler here, actually. There's tons of body filler. There's soft spots where the rust is coming through on this side. I'll have to cut all of this out and replace this part. First real repair piece right there. I'm really happy with that. As I got a little bit closer here, there's a little bit more rotting here, so I'll probably have to kind of cut some of this out, maybe kind of repair this part myself as well. I think I'm also gonna kind of work on this piece here as well. This is all completely rotted out. So what I'll do is I'll come in here with some 18 gauge, cut it out here completely, and just cut it out, and then weld in a new piece. But basically just cut this whole section out here where all this rust is, weld in a new piece of 16 gauge. Then on the inside back here, you'll see that the door hinges have these like little metal plates that are threaded. That's where your door kind of bolts up to, and they have a little bit of wiggle room on either side, you know, so when you go to set the actual door, you have some wiggle room so you can make sure that the door sets properly versus if you put it in there and nothing matches up, you're kind of screwed. So you have these little plates to move around. I'll probably make something similar to this. I wouldn't count on it though. All right, so now I'm tackling all the work that I don't want to fucking do. There's a lot of work on this car that I've just been not looking forward to. Like scrubbing the paint and doing the body work. I've not been looking forward to it because I don't know enough about it, but at the same time I gotta learn somehow. But let me run something by you guys. I'm my body working guy. So obviously, I knew this almost immediately when I went to go buy the car. I knew that the roof had been replaced at some point. I could see, and I'll show you. When purchasing it, I saw these cracks right here. The cracks that go along the A and B pillars and whatnot. So I knew that from the start. And another reason I knew that this roof had been removed is because it's an ex-cop car. So there used to be a bunch of holes drilled in the roof for light bars and shit like that they've obviously were like, well, instead of just patching those holes, we'll just replace the roof. That's the easiest thing to do. I guess that was the easiest thing for them to do. But a lot of body filler has been used to make these joints look not like garbage, because they were. Which there's nothing wrong with body filler. I don't want people to think that there's anything wrong with body filler. I just didn't think that I was gonna have to do this much digging, because, I mean, there's probably an 1/8 of an inch difference between the base of here and like where the surface of the paint is. So if I plan on reusing this roof, I'm gonna have to use body filler or patch it with some more metal. What really does concern me is that the crack in the putty goes around the entire roof on all 4 sides, which means that to me that the flexing and whatnot is gonna keep cracking the body filler if I keep putting body filler here. As I started digging deeper, I started noticing that there was some metal here is starting to chip away just by using the wire brush, which steel shouldn't do that. Aluminum shouldn't really do that either. And it's really bright compared to the standard steel after you hit it with the polishing wheel. So I think this is lead. And it has it a little bit here too. It's super malleable, which is the main reason that makes me think that it's lead. I shouldn't be able to do that much marring with a wire wheel. Just a regular steel. I mean, steel, it'll fuck steel up, but it's a steel brush. It doesn't do this. Seeing this makes me think that the repair is old, is because nobody really does leading anymore. It's almost, as a matter of fact, it is. It's a lost art. You know, back in the day when people would chop tops and lowriders and Cadillacs with the big swooping fenders and stuff like that, they would use lead because it's really the only thing they could use to help make the body lines. Working with fiberglass wasn't as easy or even accepted as it is now. So they'd use like a blowtorch and sticks of just pure lead and melt it into place and then shape it using files and sanding. And that's some old shit. I'm gonna recommend you guys look up a guy by the name of Bill Hines. That gives us like deadly item number 3 that I've inhaled since working on this thing. I did use a respirator after finding out that I was grinding on lead. I don't know if that'll kill me or not. Probably. Even further, probably have a 1/4 of an inch thick body filler that somebody's just put over the top of this and sand it down to make it look not like shit. So I'm also gonna have to cut this thing off and weld in a new piece. But it also is gonna save me money. That piece over there cost me, I think probably like a $1.25 to make, right? The material for this is probably about $1.25. $1.25 versus like $125, I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. I've also gone ahead and prepped this ready for the repairment of this side. I'll do the exact same thing. I'll cut this all out, weld along the seam here, get rid of that seam, and make that structural, and that'll just be one less thing I gotta cut out. want you to take a look at this piece. This is rough. The other side's not much better. All right, so I'm gonna replace basically all of this, right? Basically, my plan is to start from here, kind of cut around all the rust, and replace this entire section here with a piece of 16 gauge because it's a little bit thicker than what's on here. Mind you that the plates that mount up to the doors are just square metal plates that are behind the panel. That look just like this, because that's what it is. Kind of looks like the key from the Goonies movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'll come along here and remove this door jamb button, weld this entire seam shut with a new piece of metal. Then after using this seam, follow the whole thing in with a piece of metal that's kind of just shaped similar to this. So basically cut this whole piece out and replace this with just a single piece of metal. So yeah, let's get to cutting. the passenger side fender on here just to kind of check my clearance, just to make sure that all the body works and whatnot that I've done is gonna work with this fender, and it will, which is really nice. Oops. This is the body work that I created, right? Hell yeah. Pretty stoked about that. Let's look at the other side for reference. This was the important part that I recreated on the other side. Rain is gonna fall into here, and rain falls in there, rain falls in there, and then it comes out here, right? And then it's supposed to just kind of run down the side of your fenders. So kind of recreated that over here with this piece over here using 16 gauge, very strong, very structural. I might still clean up some of this, but I also fixed part of where the windshield was, where the windshield was starting to be rotting away. I'll probably have to do that more along the way, but that's just, yeah. This is my repair piece, so the rain can fall in from here and it'll pour down here. I'm gonna create a little wall that separates this and probably remove this underside down here soon and then build my own. All right, that's where we're gonna end today's video. I know it was a very strange video. We got a lot of stuff done. Got some new side skirts, repair panel, the frame is looking great. Even this thing, I'm super proud about this. Recreate this on this side in the next video, and we'll start working on the tube chassis and try to get the front suspension nailed down and the rear suspension nailed down. Can't promise all that in the next video, but it's what's next. Again, just taking this thing one day at a time. I appreciate you guys' patience. Trying to put as much content together as I can for you guys. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.